Streaming only on Peacock, a new original comedy.
Me, in a punk band?
We Are Lady Parts.
A confused mix of hash anthems and sour girl power.
You puked all over the front row. Ew.
We Are Lady Parts. All episodes streaming now, only on Peacock.
Ever wanted to break out of your cubicle and into a business where you can call the shots? You Break Guy Fix is looking for passionate self-starters interested in a franchise opportunity in the booming electronics repair industry. At You Break Guy Fix, we help reconnect people to the devices that they rely on so that they can get back to what matters most. This is a big responsibility, and from the moment you join our family, our franchisees are provided with the resources and support to bring affordable and convenient electronics repair to your community. Did we mention that with amazing partners like Samsung and Google, You Break Guy Fix franchisees also have access to the highest quality parts and personalized training out there, as well as specialized tools? It's true. And it's also easy to visit youbreakifix.com/franchising and learn more about your big break at your very own You Break iFix.
Hello, my name is Jason Newland. Please only listen to this when you can safely close your eyes to relax your body and to drift, as it seems like there's this like a tunnel which kind of leads to sleep, leads to just drifting off. And kind of every time I make a new recording, it's like I'm putting a new doorway, a new entrance into that tunnel. So although this might be number 12 or number 13, I don't know, one of them, in this podcast. So that's, 12 or 13 different doors. As well as the hundreds of other doors that I've made with my other podcasts over the years, since 2006. Plus your own doors that you've made. Because if you think about it, since you were born, how many times do you think that you've been asleep? I mean, you're looking at thousands and thousands of times, a lot. I mean, I'm 48 years old, so I can't even count the amount of times that I've been asleep. I'd need a calculator. And even then, there's been times when I haven't slept. There's been times when I've slept more than twice in a day. So, it's still in the thousands. So if you were to think of insomnia as being like a patch of dirt at the bottom of your garden, or it could be mud, dirt, whatever you want to call it, and there's these seeds, and we're given a kind of connect the grass as insomnia. So clearly the grass needs to grow from the seeds. In order to do that, it needs to be left alone. needs to have the water from the rain, I suppose the sunshine, all those things. You think every time you sleep, every time you have slept, you're walking around on that piece of dirt. And if you've ever tried to grow grass on your lawn, you know that walking on it is one way of preventing it from growing. Plus you've got the birds that will come down and eat the seeds. You've got, the weather conditions which can sometimes get in the way of the grass growing. So the odds against that grass actually growing, even if you weren't to walk on it, isn't great. Sometimes you need to keep laying the seeds in order to grow the grass. In fact, when I was a kid, I remember my dad trying to grow some grass in the garden. There was a patch that just was bare and nothing he did, no amount of seeds could encourage that, the grass to come. It just, nothing. Of course, me walking around in it every day probably didn't help. And in the end, he had to get turf. We bought turf and he put it in and it's all there. And the thing is with grass, because I never realised really, again you connecting grass with insomnia, I never realised, because I thought grass went down to the middle of the planet when I was a kid. It might seem strange, but I thought grass was like trees and it went down hundreds and thousands of feet into the earth, when in fact if you look at turf you can see that it doesn't go down that far. It doesn't have to go down far in order to grow. And if you want to remove grass, you've only got to dig down a little way and grass can be removed from the garden. Very easy to remove. It's not as deep-seated, not as deep-rooted as perhaps we once thought. Again, it's similar to the insomnia. It can seem, because when you look at a big grass, big patch of grass, maybe like a golf course or something like that, and you think, wow. Of course, it's a lot of ground. But then if you see there's patches where people have been playing golf and they've perhaps got the golf skill of me, and they keep missing the ball. And it only takes a couple of misses before that grass, that surrounding grass, is being chopped away and gone, and it's just mud. So the grass doesn't go down very far. So with a golf course it could seem like, wow, that is so much. All you would need was a tractor, pointing to the ground, and just to skim a few inches off the top. That's the grass gone. And when you think about it in that way, you realise that actually this thinking of something being more than it is starts to change. It's kind of almost like a tooth. You know, when you're a kid and you got a tooth, and your teeth are solid, aren't they? You're solid and you're eating for years, you know, everything's fine, and then when you get to, I don't know, 7 or 6, 5, maybe older even, they start to get loose because they're your baby teeth. But sometimes you can have your baby teeth till you're like 10, 11 even. Depends on the person. But that one thing that once seemed completely solid is now loose. And it comes out easily. It's then you realise that actually teeth are not attached to your head. They're attached as far as, you know, in your gum, but they're not actually, the teeth are not attached to your jaw in the same way as your fingers are attached to your hand. So there's that looseness, there's that pliability in thinking, that plasticity of thought when thinking about insomnia, that actually it isn't this fixed thing. It isn't a scary monster that has control. Doesn't have any control. It's not a monster. It's not something that's out to get you. And sometimes it can seem like that. You know, like, oh, why is my mind doing this to me? When your mind isn't doing anything other than just thinking. And as I may have said in the past, the fact that your mind is thinking and you may have complete clarity and all your attention may be focused on those thoughts is actually a gift. To know that your brain and your mind is actively working, which is a wonderful thing. It's just bad timing. That's all. It's just bad timing. And it's nobody's fault. I mean, trains are great when they turn up on time. But if you need to catch a train at 9 o'clock in the morning, but it turns up at 2 o'clock in the morning, that's no good to you, is it? Because you're in bed. In the same way, the mind, the thinking, It's not necessary at 2 o'clock in the morning when it may be at 9 o'clock in the morning. That full awakeness and thinking and alertness is a great thing to have when it's time to get out of bed. It's a great thing to have when you're travelling to work, when you're at work, or whatever it is you're doing at college, or even if you're not working, whatever activity that you choose to involve yourself in during your day. It's nice to have that alertness and to have your mind working for you and being able to think, work out solutions, to be able to enjoy the process of being alive. When you're awake, but when you are asleep, or when you choose to go to sleep, that's your time. Separate from that part of you that's wide awake and alert and enjoying the day and, focusing on whatever it is that you're doing. Because sleeping doesn't need focusing on, doesn't need thinking about. With sleeping, there's very little that needs to be done. It's just laying down on your bed, if that's how you sleep. Your head touches a pillow, your body relaxes and your mind slows down. That's all that is needed. Nothing else. And that can be a bit of a it can sometimes feel a little bit less than what you're capable of doing. When you're capable of thinking and problem solving and planning and all those things which involves your brain, which is a great thing to be able to do those things and to think logically, philosophically, all that stuff. But not when you're in bed, not when it's time to sleep. You can leave those thoughts outside your bedroom door. The same as you don't eat a sandwich while you're on the toilet. A toilet isn't a place to eat. It's a separate thing. If you've been out in the snow, chances are you'll leave your boots outside the door before you go into the house, possibly, so you don't bring the ice and snow in. Of course, you might like ice and snow in your house. You might actually bring a wheelbarrow full of it and build a snowman in the living room. That's up to you. You can leave your thoughts, worries, plans, concerns, wishes, dreams, all that stuff. Leave it out. Leave it at the door. Leave it at your bedroom door. And then when you get into bed, that stuff's there. You don't need it. You may be into ballroom dancing. You don't sleep in your ballroom gown or your big tuxedo suit thing. You may love deep sea diving, but you don't go to bed with your flippers on and your snorkel. It's a separate thing, completely separate. Nothing to do with going to bed, nothing to do with going to sleep. I can guarantee that if I went to bed with a snorkel on and flippers, a big gas chamber, if I've been deep sea diving, a big boat at the side of the bed, I'd struggle to sleep. That's my chair, by the way. If you hear squeaks, it's the chair. It's a separate thing. When you lay down on your bed, your head touches a pillow. That's a signal for your body to relax and your mind to slow down. Completely separate from any other activity that you do. Because your dream life is separate. Your dream life starts when you're asleep. You don't need to bring anything to the table. You don't need to bring anything to bed with you. You don't need to bring a list of things to dream about. You don't need to bring a list of things to do once you're in bed. Because all you need to do is just lie down. Do what you did when you were a baby, when you were, all the way through our lives. You lie down, your head touches a pillow, and you just drift off to sleep. And your mind slows down. And one thing that a lot of people do that is completely pointless, and it has the adverse effect, is that part. Some people say try and force themselves to go to sleep, or start arguing in their head, why am I not asleep yet? I have to go to sleep. I must go to sleep. Please let me go to sleep. I've done it myself, and it's very natural to do that. But it's not helpful. Because somewhere within you, when you're doing that, is you're blaming yourself. You're having a go at yourself. You're trying to force a natural process which can't be forced. If anything, the opposite works. When you don't care if you sleep or not, that's when you fall asleep easily. Sometimes trying to stay awake is a thing that will send you to sleep. But I say, why try to do anything? because you're lying in your bed, your head touches the pillow, you relax your body naturally. That's just natural stuff. What else is going to happen apart from you falling asleep? What other options are there? What do you expect to happen? There's nothing's going to happen. It's just, you're just lying there. And you can enjoy the feeling. Because I love lying down on the bed. To be fair, regardless of what time of the day or night, I just like laying down on the bed because I'm very lazy. But I do like that feeling of just closing my eyes and having a break, having a rest. And just, I actually feel quite grateful because I listen to the birds in the garden. Because at the time I go to bed, they're up and they've just woken up now as I'm doing this recording. Because I can only make recordings when I'm awake. So if I was asleep, I wouldn't be able to make this recording. So it's not necessarily going to be at the same time that you're sleeping. That's if you're listening to it to go to sleep, or just so your mind can be, changed to direct your thought in a different way. So that you're no longer criticizing yourself or having a go at yourself for not being, able to sleep instantly at will. But don't forget that our minds are not trained dogs. You can't say sit to yourself. Sit, stand, fetch. Because we wouldn't want someone else saying that to us. I'm sure if you're walking in the park and somebody yelled at you and chucked a stick and said, fetch, you probably wouldn't be hugely impressed. Unless it was a pre-planned, enjoyable activity that you like to share. In the same way, why tell your mind, go to sleep now, go to sleep, sleep. Doesn't like to hear that, doesn't like that tone. But if you're gentle, and instead of criticizing, or instead of wording it like, why can't I sleep? You can say gently to yourself, time to sleep. I love sleeping. I feel so comfortable. This is nice. Sleeping so easy, effortless. I feel so relaxed. So relaxed. Of course, you don't have to say anything because you don't have to do anything. This is about wrapping your mind around the idea that actually sleeping is something that you were born to do. There's very few things that we're born to be able to do. You know, most animals are born. Some are able to walk straight away. Some are able to feed themselves straight away. But humans, we're born completely helpless. There's very few things that we can do. We can cry. We can hear. We can smell. We can see. We can suck milk, and we can move parts of our body, but not necessarily know that we're doing it, and not necessarily be able to purposely do it, not when we're first born. And we can sleep. Again, we don't know we're doing it. We don't know what it is. We don't care what it is because we don't question it. So this is one of the few things that we were born able to naturally do. We're able to laugh. Babies can laugh. Mind you, it's not always sure if they're laughing or they're doing a poo, but they still make the facial expressions. Lots of different emotions. They don't know what's going on. They don't know what the emotions are. They don't care because it doesn't matter. All that matters is the baby's healthy. Parents don't care why they're smiling. They're just happy their child's smiling. The baby's not bothered. He's probably just laughing at all these funny looking humans. Probably thinking, what on earth are they? What is this place? And they can fall asleep in a second. Have you ever seen a child try and stay awake? It's not just babies, children of all ages. Trying to force themselves to stay awake and falling asleep. I've seen babies do that even when they're eating. So falling asleep is the most natural thing in the world. And you may say, but JJ, you said this before. You said this 10 years ago in a session I heard. You said this in 2006, you said it in 2013, 15, 17, you've said it so many times. It's because it's true. It's a very simple truth. We were born to be able to sleep. One of my recordings was called Sleeping is your birthright. And it is. One of the greatest things we've inherited as a human. We've all inherited it. And just because somewhere along the line, somewhere along your life, maybe some changes have happened, which has kind of affected that smooth movement from lying in your bed with your head touching the pillow, your body relaxing, your mind slowing down and just smoothly drifting into sleep. If you think back to the past, there was a time when you'd go to bed and expect to fall asleep. You were old enough to comprehend what was going on, within the sleeping part. You're not a baby anymore. But you expect to fall asleep. It's just part of the process. Maybe you clean your teeth, go to the toilet, whatever you need to do, and you go into your bed, change into your pyjamas, or whatever your routine is. Lay down, put your head on a pillow. Sounds like you've got like a detachable head, the way I say that, doesn't it? Lay down and put your head on the pillow. So you lay down, your head touches the pillow, your body relaxes. It's a natural process. And the weird, as long as you've got a comfortable bed. But the weird thing is, even if you don't have a comfortable bed, you're going to wake up comfortable. I was saying the other day, if I woke up on a bed of nails, I would still not want to get out of bed. I'd still feel completely relaxed and comfortable. So why wait until you wake up to have that feeling of complete comfort? It's going to happen anyway. So why not just have it earlier? That feeling where perhaps the alarm's gone off and you put your alarm clock on snooze, and how easy it is to drift back to sleep. How easy and instant. You're dreaming again. You're fully asleep. Why wait until the alarm goes off? Why not just have that feeling of just drifting off completely, so tired? When you first go to bed. It seems to make more sense because it's just a feeling. It's just a feeling. That you can notice more and more when you go to bed. How you feel. way more relaxed. It may feel in some ways strange if it's been a while since you easily and naturally drifted off to sleep. But the bigger feeling you'll have is that sense of familiarity, that sense of how things used to be when it comes to sleeping deeply, sleeping easily. Because sleeping isn't something that we need to learn. Staying awake is something we need to learn. Not need to, but something that you have learnt